Join us today for a review of an advanced screening of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Welcome back to those of you who've been here before. Welcome to those of you who are new to the channel. For those of you who have not met her, which would probably be most of you, I would assume, this is the oft-mentioned yet rarely seen Sarah.
Hi.
So, we just got done, well, about an hour ago, got done watching Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It was an advanced screening. I will hopefully get this up shortly after recording, but in the event that I don't, today is March 19th. So, a couple weeks before the movie's supposed to come out. This is a review. These are going to be some initial impressions. We are going to split this up between the non-spoiler part, which will be first, and then the spoiler part, which will be second, and will be clearly noted in the video.
So no spoilers?
No spoilers, or at least nothing that wasn't in the trailers. So.
Well, I saw like one trailer.
Okay, well. Alright. So, overall, I did think it was a good movie. So,
I liked it.
So it was enjoyable. I can definitely say that. For those of you who've seen some of the other videos that I've made on this particular topic, I did think most of the jokes landed. I also thought they could have dialed it back just a bit, but it's not quite like Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, we're not to that territory yet. So overall, I don't think.
Wait, so you didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder?
I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was okay. I did a review on it, but like, have you seen the Batman movies from the 80s and 90s? The four of them. Okay, you know how in Batman Forever, the first one that Joel Schumacher made, that looks like a hybrid of the Tim Burton movies and like a neon light factory? Okay. Well, to me, Batman Forever is this is still an okay movie, but all the hallmarks of impending disaster are here if one knows where to look. And that all just came crashing in Batman and Robin. That's what Thor: Love and Thunder is to me. It's this is still okay, but we've clearly gone in a slightly different direction, and I don't think it's going to work out if we keep going that way.
I think...
And to other people, it's, no, we've gone too far that way already.
I guess. This, for me, like, I love the slapstick comedy, because it is very reminiscent sometimes of how we play with each other, because the groups of people you play with, you have kind of those little inside jokes. So
just to be clear, you are meaning Dungeons & Dragons Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I think for this movie, like, it kind of harkens back to that, and that's kind of what they're getting at.
I think that's what they were getting at. My big concern is that the vast majority of the audience doesn't play Dungeons & Dragons. So they won't know that. Okay, because there's just not that many, all things considered. I mean, sure, you can say 1 million people play the game, or 2 million, or 5 million, but like...
But people play games, and like, even if you've played Monopoly, you've snarkily said something to somebody about them them buying something you wanted, or I think you can relate to that.
Yes, but here's my counterpoint. One, if there's ever a movie for Monopoly, I think it's really going to end up in a fist fight, but to really capture the essence of Monopoly.
All right, so maybe I didn't pick the right game. I was just trying to pick a very
I get what you're saying with games in general, but okay, I kind of talked about this in the other video. Are people going to see this thinking, oh, this is an adaptation of a game? Or are they thinking, oh, this looks like a reasonably produced fantasy film? If it's that second one, think some of them are going to think there's too much humor in it.
There might be. Yeah. I think it, like, I don't know. I think that it was funny. But like
again, I thought it was funny. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't funny, okay? I want to be crystal clear, because I see in the comments sometimes and people like just wildly misunderstand what I'm saying on the whole humor front. I'm not saying there shouldn't be jokes. I'm not saying there were necessarily too many jokes. I'm just saying they could have dialed it back just a bit.
I think dialing it back would help with rewatchability, because after you hear some of these slapstick jokes so many times, you know, they get old. Like that other person sitting at your table who just keeps harping the same thing, and you're like, we get it, dude. All right now.
Yeah, and that's a problem that I didn't mention on the other video of comedies, is that some comedies have it where you can watch it 10 times and it's still funny.
Yeah.
Others don't.
Yeah.
And while I think some parts of this will still land in the 10th, 12th view, there are some other parts where I go, okay, yeah, I get it. You know?
Yeah. There are things that you'll stop laughing at after a while. You'll be like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I also think we need to keep in mind this is opening day. People who are hardcore dedicated to this in all likelihood.
Yeah.
And we're with a group. Some of those jokes might not have been as funny as we thought they were. And we just got carried away with the group laughter, like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Whereas, you know, like watching it alone, you're like, this really isn't all that funny. I'm not saying that's going to be a thing. I'm just saying that's always one thing to keep in mind with comedies.
Yeah, there were a few things.
Because I've definitely noticed that with some I've watched before. Like I watch them later on, I'm like, why did I ever think this was funny?
Well, like, you know, going to the movies is a social experience.
Oh, totally agree.
So I think that changes things up, and I think you should experience, especially things you love, in that forum, in that social forum with other people that are, you know, enjoying it and just as happy to be there as you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed myself greatly. A couple of times I jumped into your lap. I was a little like, taken back. Luckily, no popcorn was spilled this time.
Yeah, no, we had all the popcorn from the movie started.
We might like popcorn. It's a thing.
Well, we also got there ahead of time, so.
Yeah, we did. We got there early. But
so for those of you who know me personally, yes, I in fact can be early to things.
That's all me. That is not him. That's all me. I was ready to go early. Anyway.
Well, I said, hey, let's go ahead and enter the theater.
Okay.
So anyway, the action pieces, such as they were, all looked fine. I will say, and this isn't really a spoiler, like, the plots are essentially just the insanity that you would expect player characters to come up with.
Yeah.
Or at least what I'm led to believe they do from stories.
Yeah, I can never get my people to come up with cool shit like that,
Yeah.
but okay.
So, moving on. So on that front, that looked good. The characters, for the most part, in my opinion, sold the whole, like, we live in this world. These things are not new to us. So we don't have a reason to sit here and throw out a bunch of exposition on the matter.
Yeah. No, like,
With the one, this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer. The one notable exception being the owlbear.
yeah.
But yeah, everything else, you know, no one is stopping and gawking. It's like, what's that? Oh, what's that? Or, oh, explain this to me. And
I loved Hugh Grant's. Like, he did a good job selling just, like, the schmarminess, like the creepy little, you know, like, that was really good.
yeah,
But it's
and
con man, so that is part of the event.
And then there were enough serious moments to add weight
I just about cried.
to most of the character stuff. And unlike a number of MCU movies, like, serious moments were allowed to play out and be serious moments. Yeah, there is one that, like, it starts to get jokey, but, like, it also kind of fits with what's being told at the time. So, yeah, so you have that. Overall, I think this was sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Forgotten Realms. I mean, we stole the wrong thing. The wrong people got it. Now we got to get it back.
We worked for the wrong people.
There's an assortment of personal reasons to do some of these things.
Yeah. I do love they keep harkening back to, making sure you know your backstory and knowing what's going on. That was a good D&D back reference that I liked.
Yeah. Let's see. The landscape all looked fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Wherever they shot this in these sort of locations were great.
Yeah, I loved just some of it very hexagonally and or square laid out in certain places was quite comical to me.
Yeah. Let's see.
Like, you can't really get into that until you get into the spoilers part. But like it was great. I was like, ha! They have a grid. It's there. That's great.
Yeah, we had that. The effects, by and large, look good. Well, actually, the effects look pretty good all throughout. It's to me, there was a handful of some of the non-human races.
Yeah.
To me,
a little overkill.
I thought that with the budget they had, they either could have looked better or they should have left them out. What did I mention? There's a tabaxi at one point.
Yeah.
That personally I thought looked a little, looked like Sci-Fi Channel level stuff.
Yeah. That was a little rough. Like the fur wasn't laying right.
Yeah, and then there was something was off about the Aarakocra, but I couldn't place it. Like in flight, it looked okay.
Yeah.
It was when it was standing there interacting. Just to me, something looked off.
I didn't notice that part.
And then I think there was just the one dwarf in the entire movie.
It's the only one I saw.
And it was like the dwarfiest dwarf.
There was like halflings all over the place, but not dwarfs.
Yeah, there was a few halflings, but it was definitely like the dwarfiest dwarf you're ever going to see. like it's like someone watched The Hobbit and was like, let's take this
times 2
and turn this to 11. And like, that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, really? Like, come on.
But I mean, it was overdone, but since you're only seeing one, it's not like, it doesn't detract from the movie.
Yeah.
Only when you've got like a critical eye and you're looking for the things that might not.
Yeah, like the average person isn't going to look at that and be like, all right, I'm checking out. But it's one of those things, like, you see it and you're like, to me, you're either going to have one of two reactions. You're going to be like, oh, that looks exactly like a D&D dwarf, in which case I'm going to say you need to learn more about D&D dwarves. But the other reaction is basically what I'm saying, which is really? Like, that's where we're going now, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me more of like an animated version of how you animate a dwarf for like the Lord of the Rings, Hobbit stuff, and harkens back to the older stuff.
And again, just to be crystal clear, that's not maybe like, oh, you shouldn't go watch the movie just because of this. No. It's a minor nitpick. It is what it is.
And you didn't like the initial character from the first couple scenes, like the hobgoblin. Is that what you didn't like?
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem is I'm guessing it was a hobgoblin. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe it was an orc.
I was getting like orc vibes. Like, I really felt with the lead up and how the other characters interacted with it, I felt like it was definitely an orc.
Yeah, I mean, could have been. Would have been nice to know.
Yeah.
Just so we know what they're going to look like if there's a sequel going forward,
Yeah. Ooh, bunnies.
So, on a down note, before I get into spoilers, that whole, like, hey, this really feels lived in, there were some moments where there should have been some exposition, in my opinion, because they just throw out the names of organizations willy-nilly, and you're just kind of like, so those are things, I take it.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I've seen people online. This is in discussions of the movie when it was still in the hypothetical phase. Who would always be like, no, you can't stop and talk about things that aren't important to the plot. And I'm like, the hell you can't. Have you ever seen Star Wars?
Well,
Like in A New Hope, George Lucas lays out all kinds of things that have nothing to do with A New Hope. There's talk of the Clone Wars. There's random racism towards droids.
I also think the thing they're trying to do, like D&D, like you can always do some intelligence. You can always ask questions about things, and they could have used that angle to explain themselves a little more. Because like there were things. I mean, first of all, I listen to you talk about D&D a lot, and then I also run a smaller group I DM for. So you know, I know a lot of this is, but there were some things I was just like, what's that? I don't know. So yeah, I think they definitely could have explained a few things more that would have helped even like your mid-range, you know, hobbyist who is into role playing.
And it's not like they need to like stop the movie, pull up a table, and have a 10-minute conversation about these things. But okay.
I almost think to get into more of that, you need spoilers.
We're probably gonna have to.
I was like, because I would feel like you need to start pulling in.
Yeah. Okay. So
character positions.
So that's about as far as I think we can probably go without spoilers. So just before I cut off to the spoilers, for those of you who don't want to hear them, I do think the movie's worth going to see. Excuse me. I do think the movie is worth going to see. It's a spectacle enough that I would prefer to watch it in the theater than on TV. While
like I said, the scenery is like when they're walking through the scenery and they're going to different. I mean,
like some of the set piece for the big thing in the Underdark, you know, that's pretty spectacular on the screen.
It is.
And some of the shots of Neverwinter as well. And so, like I said, I definitely say it's worth watching. If I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably go about a 7.5. 7.5. There's just a few things that detract from it, and some of those are, I'm going to mention the spoilers, some of those are like me just being nitpicky about Realms lore.
Oh,
so,
you?
Yeah, I know. But
never, my love.
So yeah, I expect that's the future of the franchise. I know Paramount said they're going to make a live-action series.
Really?
I think there's 8 episodes planned. So now that I've seen this movie, and I think it will have a solid box office, I think that will actually happen. Because Paramount can announce whatever they want. It's when they actually start spending money that you know it's actually going to happen. And there's not any sign that's actually happened yet. So, you know, Buckaroo Banzai had a sequel announced, and 40 years later, I'm still waiting on it. Not really, but actually, minor little side note here, last one for the video, hopefully. The proposed sequel to Buckaroo Banzai was actually seriously reworked by John Carpenter into Big Trouble in Little China.
What?
Yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
The Jack Burton character, the fact he's a truck driver, a bunch of stuff like that came from the sequel script for Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League, which was advertised at the very end of the Buckaroo Banzai movie. It was kind of underrated. It's cheesy as hell, but it's entertaining.
You're so off topic, babe.
I know, but that's irrelevant, because now we're going to go to another real topic of Battletech, where there's a group of mercenaries called Team Banzai, who have black mechs with the backwards bees facing each other, the back-to-back bees, which is the symbol for Buckaroo Banzai. It's supposed to be Buckaroo Banzai in the Battletech universe. Swear to God, folks, look it up on camospecs.com. Under mercenaries, I think. Team Banzai. So on that note, now that I threw Battletech in there so I can put it in the hashtags, that's called marketing, folks.
Going enjoy the movie. It was great, and it would be a good movie to just go see with, you know,
it's
a good group of
it's
people
an entertaining
or your
movie.
D&D group.
Actually, I didn't see anything that wasn't family friendly in the movie either.
It depends on how young your children are and how strict you are on violence and stuff.
Yeah,
them,
I mean,
like,
there's maybe the monsters weren't scary monsters.
No.
Maybe the mimic. Like, that's the kind of thing that, like,
I would let Blake see it.
Maybe a younger kid might be like, oh my god, something just turned into a teeth-filled void. Like, I'm never sleeping or sitting or touching anything ever again. You know, like,
children are resilient.
Maybe the mimic might be, but the rest of the monsters weren't.
No.
And the undead aren't even like creepy undead until Sophia starts to turn into like whatever she was turning into at the end, and maybe a little bit of Zaz Tam. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than the violence, which is all bloodless violence, there's really no sexual innuendo that I recall.
I mean, there are.
Maybe the comment about the orifice, but the kids aren't going to get that.
Yeah. I mean, if your kid is watching regular television, they could watch this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I take a 5-year-old to it, but like 7, 8 is probably old enough, in my opinion. But I saw the Terminator whenever I was 8, so I have a rather skewed perception on things. Saw Total Recall when I was 9 in a theater, up to and including that woman on Mars. With the extra assets. You know what I'm talking about, folks. If you don't, go watch the movie. Not that crap with Colin Farrell. I mean the one with Schwarzenegger. So anyway, go watch it. Probably okay for your kids. If you're waffling, go watch it yourself first. But I think it's okay for your kids in general. It's a fun movie. A lot of laughs. It's a pretty good movie. You should go watch it. So with that, we always enjoy the likes, subscribe, shares, all that. Definitely, if you've somehow stuck around through all this, I want to hear your comments. Even if it's just that I'm too long-winded, or that you appreciate a pretty co-host, like,
oh, you're cute.
Whatever you want to tell me. And then somewhere down here, sorry, try not to like get it up there, but somewhere in there is where the thing telling you where our Twitter account is. And that'll be interacting with Brad there, me on the comments, and at some point we're going to have a Facebook page, hopefully. So probably about the time Mark Zuckerberg like really pisses people off legally, but we'll see.
The metaverse is weird.
Yeah, by the time the metaverse becomes, metaphysical. So, yeah. Anyway, go watch it. But other than that,
bye.
I don't know, there's some kind of quip about natural criticals or something, or anything to throw in here?
Later, y'all.
I guess not. So see you guys later.